Now, let's take a look at the Democratic Party, starting with the in team, with Lou and Josh. Now, I am not in favor of this team because it's a repeat of the Guerrero Tenorio team, because here, once again, we have a big business that thinks they're going to run government of Guam like a business. Well, we saw how that worked under Guerrero Tenorio, and we don't need a repeat. And the reason is government is not a business. Government is government. Business, the role of business is to make profit. The role of government is to provide service. And it is not going to be in the best interest of the people of Guam to have another person using the government of Guam as a business opportunity for the family business. And you have to ask yourself, why would they even do it? I mean, here we have a person who runs a billion-dollar corporation and she goes on a leave of absence. Well, that's not stepping away from the business.
These aren't people. These are animals.
Don't be rude.
Can you give us a question?
You are fake news.
What comes out of Donald Trump's mouth is, for a president of the United States, unprecedented.
Wait a minute. I'm not finished. I'm not finished, fake news.
So is what goes into his wallet. More than $500 million of income last year for Trump and his family, from their hotels, golf courses, clubs, merchandise sales, from old businesses and newly formed ones. No modern president has profited this way during his time in office. Predecessors like Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, and George W. Bush put their assets in blind trusts to avoid conflicts between their financial interests and the public interests. Trump did not. He announced last January he'd step away from his businesses, but only from their management, not their profits.
My two sons are going to be running the company.
As president, he's promoted them with his presence relentlessly. During his first 514 days in office, he visited Trump properties on 159 of them. The stars have all aligned, his son Eric said last year. I think our brand is the hottest it's ever been.
Just like we've seen with the Trump family running government, the United States government, as a business opportunity for their family, I'm concerned that we might see the same thing happening in a Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration, because there are so many well-connected political insiders flocking to the banner of the Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration. It reminds me of vultures getting ready to feed, because every one of these political insiders are only supporting the candidates in return for something. They're all expecting something. They all want their bite, or their piece of the pie, so to speak. So when I see this many well-connected political insiders driving a campaign like this, I know that they are only going to fatten their own pockets at the expense of the public. We've been through that with the Guerrero Tenorio team. We cannot afford a repeat. There's a lot of pork barrels still open that haven't been closed by the Guerrero Tenorio administration. And my concern is that the in team of vultures would look at these opportunities with fresh eyes and find ways that they could stymie the efforts of the public to stop the pork barrel raiding and feast themselves. GRP is still in court. God knows why. I mean, I've looked at 3,000 pages of documents going all the way back to 1982, and there is no reason why this case should still be in court. Then we have Guam YTK, another $20 million money-for-nothing pork barrel scam that's still alive in the courts. And my fear is that if the Leon Guerrero Tenorio team get into power, they're going to find ways to keep those moving and get their cut. Manhita Farms is still alive and kicking. That's another potential raid on CLTC property that might be supported by a Leon Guerrero Tenorio team with the proper inducement. Another concern I have right now is the Bank of Guam is in the process of purchasing ASC Trust, Guam's largest private retirement business company. How long will it be before we start seeing actions by a Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration to transfer the assets of the government of Guam retirement system over to ASC Trust? And then there's Guam Memorial. For those of you who weren't aware of it, I have been actively trying to get Guam Memorial Hospital put into federal receivership. We saw what happened at the landfill before the receiver took over. It was used as a piggy bank, an ATM machine, if you will, for politically well-connected insiders who were harvesting millions of dollars off landfill operations. Well, we learned through the testimony on GMH, through the whistleblowers, the same thing is happening at GMH. And my concern is that while I've been pushing for a receiver, Leon Guerrero has been adamant that we should not put a receiver in, that she should control Guam Memorial Hospital when she gets into office. But when I look at her plan is basically the same thing that has happened for the past 30 years. So there is no change in direction there. We need to have a receiver running Guam Memorial Hospital if the island's only public hospital is ever to survive, and the Leon Guerrero Tenorio team will fight it. So she talks about often about how she is a strong supporter of Guam Memorial Hospital, and yet when Guam Memorial Hospital needed a bridge loan to build a brand new state-of-the-art labor and delivery room to benefit the 2,000 to 3,000 women and children that use those facilities every year, she refused to loan the money. She says receivership is not a solution. I think she's looking at the opportunity to run the hospital like an ATM machine the way previous administrations did and did at Ordot Dump. The final evidence we need that there will be two classes of people under a Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration is the arrest of Josh Tenorio's sister. And she was arrested for threatening to murder a government witness, and she was released with a traffic ticket. If that isn't two different levels of justice, one for politically well-connected people, one for the rest of us, I don't know what is. So when it comes to the N team, just say no. The people of Guam can't afford a repeat of the Calvo Tenorio experience.